All right, people, welcome back to the Slice. How you doing? In this video, I'm going to react to the weekend's action where we saw Hubert Hurkacz take out Daniil Medvedev in the final at Halle. Daniil Medvedev's coach storms out, and Hubert Hurkacz, nicest guy on tour, gets another title win right before Wimbledon. And Matteo Berrettini wins his second title in a row, coming back from his hand injury. How much can these guys do at Wimbledon? So I'm also going to give my top Wimbledon power rankings for the ATP heading into the tournament before the draws release, just based on current form and who I think can do the most at the championships. So welcome to the Slice. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Slice.
Friends of the show, how are you? Welcome back to the Slice. I took the weekend off. I was actually in Mallorca on vacation, checking out from the tennis world, not at the Mallorca Championships, which are going on right now. And there was two big grass court tournaments going on, Halle and Queens, and we got the winners of those. You guys know who they are. Lots of action going down this weekend. So before we get into it, shout out to PointsBet Canada for presenting the Slice during the grass court swing. If you're gonna bet the tennis, and you're in Ontario, use PointsBet Canada. Amazing platform and amazing company who's investing in tennis in Canada, so shout out to them. Support the Slice by subscribing, clicking the link, and following us on all the socials, and consider becoming a member of the channel. We got Hubert Hurkacz taking out Daniil Medvedev. Let's get into that one first. In Halle, Hurkacz played lights out from what I saw. Again, wasn't able to watch these live, but watching the highlights and seeing all the stats, he played lights out. I think I read somewhere that he didn't miss a first serve return in the entire first set. Didn't happen, I think, until the third game of the second set. So for a guy like Daniil Medvedev, who has an amazing first serve, that's got to be insanely frustrating to not be able to get literally a single free point on your first serve. I think for the match, Medvedev was only like 64% winning on his first serve, which is pretty low, especially on grass, for a guy that's got that big of a serve as a weapon. So just unbelievable returning from Hubert Hurkacz. And it looks like his forehand, which can sometimes break down, was playing absolutely elite, and he was just being able to hit confidently through it, hit winners with it. So that really left nowhere for Medvedev to go. The other thing that Hubert Hurkacz does so well is slice, and I love the work he's doing with Craig Boynton, his coach. A lot of slicing. You'd see him slice to the Medvedev backhand, slice to the Medvedev backhand, and like sneak in behind a slice. This is the Slice, talking about Hubert Hurkacz's slice. Anyways, amazing performance from Hubert Hurkacz, who is now 5-0 in titles so far in his career. So big match, Hubie energy. Pretty crazy from him. I saw him in Stuttgart. He lost early there, and I said, what's up? You know, good luck going forward. Saw him in the breakfast line. But yeah, just a great player, great person. And going into Wimbledon, I think he's going to be pretty high up our Wimbledon power rankings, so stay tuned to the end for those. Medvedev, on the other hand, 2 finals in a row, 2 losses in a row. The first one was bad to Tim Van Rijthoven. That one was kind of like, wow, you should not lose that as the world number 1, no matter how the kid's playing. This one against Hubert Hurkacz, top 10 player. Yeah, not as bad of a loss, obviously. Making the finals of Halle is good. He'll get some points from that as he's trying to extract the most he can out of this grass court season that he's unfairly not allowed to play at Wimbledon in. But he is, I've noticed that the weeks that he's number 1 or he could get to number 1, he hasn't played his best tennis. Is that the pressure of expectation? Probably in some ways. It's also just very hard on the ATP Tour. The Gilles Severa walkout, we've seen him do this before. I think it was at Australia when he was down 2-0 against somebody. He's yelling at him, and Gilles Severa, coach of Daniil Medvedev, obviously legendary coach, got him to world number 1. Just is like, yeah, I'm out, peace out, you figure this out, and just left. And I think at the Australian Open, Gilles Severa was probably pretty confident that Medvedev was going to turn it around. This one, I don't think he was, and I think he was just like, I'm not going to take this constant beratement from you. So there's probably a lot of opinions on like, should Medvedev be doing that, these types of things. Yeah, he probably should tone it down. And so Gilles Severa, though, is doing the right thing. I'm being like, I'm going to permit what I'm going to permit and not accept what I'm not going to accept. And he just pieced out. So that's pretty funny. I think they'll be fine. He is #1 in the world, so they're being extremely successful right now. Don't get it twisted. And yeah, I'm sure they'll have made up, but I'd love to see what those conversations after the matches are, because it's got to be pretty awkward. And also the history, I think, with Hubert, Hurkacz, and Medvedev kind of pisses them off a bit, because if you remember back at Miami, I think it was if Medvedev made the semifinals of Miami, he would get back to #1. And then he played Hubert, Hurkacz in the quarterfinals, and he lost. So, and then he just lost again to Hubert in Halle. And so I don't think Medvedev loves playing Hubert, to put it mildly. Berrettini defends Queens title. So big title for Berrettini in Queens. He had points to defend. He actually ended up losing points somehow because he held on to some from Queens in 2019 with the rankings mess that we're in right now. But he played in Stuttgart, won that, the Boss Open. Berrettini is the boss. He's the face of Boss, and he won the Boss Open. And coming into Queens, he was wanting to defend that before going to Wimbledon, where he couldn't defend his points, or he's not allowed to. So he's basically done everything he could so far perfectly to lead up to that. His serve plus forehand is the #1, I think, in men's tennis. Unbelievably hard to defend against, especially when the first serve is coming in. But anytime he gets a forehand, a look at a forehand, you just got to brace yourself, because he's just going after it. It's huge. His slice is also so good. He uses it very well, keeps the ball down, can attack, and he's coming forward very well today, or in these two tournaments. The initial rush in Stuttgart has kind of worn off, and now he's just very clinical at the net. And with him being 6'4", 6'5", big Italian stallion barging to the net, it's just got to be so intimidating as his opponent. So that's 2 titles in a row for Berrettini heading into Wimbledon. Gil Gross, our friend of the show, said he pointed out that he hadn't played a top 25 opponent in these 2 tournaments, which is fair, and that in general he's 2 for 2, or 2 wins, 2 losses against top 10 players on grass. So he hasn't really proved it. He can do it against the best of the best on grass, but I mean, you can only play who's in front of you. So last year at Wimbledon, he had a tougher route to the final than Novak Djokovic did, for example, and he got to the final and then wasn't able to do it against Djokovic. It was actually fairly close though. So I would suspect things might be different this year. And that brings me to our Wimbledon power rankings heading into Wimbledon for the ATP. Now, I've thought a lot about this. I kind of did a rough one at the grass season preview, if you remember that video. So I'm going to do another one here with a little bit more finality, a little bit more emphasis on it. This is kind of what I think, and we'll see. So #1, I got Novak Djokovic for obvious reasons. He's won it 6 times. He's the defending champion, and he's the world's best player currently on grass, who's playing currently right now. Djokovic is #1. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Like I said before, there's probably a gap, and then I'm going to put Berrettini. Berrettini, because he's won the last 2 grass tournaments he's played. He made the finals last year, and his serve +1 I think is so good. It's literally so hard to beat him on grass. Djokovic is the only guy that's done it in the last 3 grass tournaments Matteo's played, 4 grass tournaments he's played. So that's a big thing. I think if he played Djokovic, that's a big question. Could he beat Djokovic? I think if Djokovic, he played him, and it was, he played him earlier on, or Djokovic had a bad day, Berrettini could definitely beat him. But that's the thing. You got to get Djokovic on a bad day, which is not easy to do. #3, I think Hurkacz, above Nadal, yes. Hurkacz, he could beat anyone on grass with his game right now. He could also beat himself, but when he plays his best, I think he could beat everyone. And similar to Berrettini, if he caught Djokovic on a bad day, it could get really interesting with the way that Hurkacz can serve, with the way that he can defend, with the way that he can slice, with the way that he can come forward. He's the only guy to ever give Federer a bagel, the goat grass, the grass on goat, the goat of grass. He's the only guy to give him a bagel ever in his life. So that's not something to overlook. And Hurkacz, I think, is #3 on my power rankings. What do you guys think? #4, I got Nadal because of the foot, the question mark. He also hasn't won Wimbledon since 2010. So he's always a threat. Of course, he's won 22 slams now. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's one of the GOATs. Just grass is his least favorite surface. You could say actually indoor hard court's his least favorite surface, but it's still a hard court where he's won multiple majors. So coming into this, I just don't see him as a bigger threat to the title than Berrettini or Hurkacz, and that might be silly of me. I bet against Nadal mentally at the Australian Open and the French Open, and he's broken my spirit, told me I'm an idiot, and just proven me wrong. But at Wimbledon, I am sticking him here at number 4. Happy to be proved wrong. Let's just say that. Happy to be proved wrong. Number 5, Felix Auger-Aliassime, the Canadian kid. Serve +1 is, I think, top 3. It's unbelievable. Let's not forget that he's an elite mover. He's an absolute athlete specimen. And his transition game, like we saw even against Nadal in pretty slow conditions at Roland Garros, is absolutely elite. He came forward against Nadal over and over and over and over. And it was a working strategy against Nadal on clay, on Chatrier. That's unbelievable in itself. Imagine what that's going to do at the Wimbledon grass. So he hasn't had the greatest start. He lost to Rithaven and Hurkacz, same as Medvedev actually in Hertogenbosch and Halle. But I think coming into Wimbledon, that 5-set format's really going to help Felix because he's as good of an athlete as anyone else out there. He could be a real danger at Wimbledon. Number 6, Carlos Alcaraz. We forgot about this guy. He hasn't played any grass yet. I think his body rest, I think. He likes fast surfaces. I asked him in press last year, do you prefer slow or fast surfaces? He actually told me he likes a faster surface, gets more return from his balls, which makes sense. So coming into the grass, it's a little bit unexpected because we just don't have that much, I forget what he did last year at Wimbledon. But with his athleticism, his game, all of his shots, he could do so much. He could go super far. But I think the expectation we put on him at Roland Garros was a little bit crazy. So we're going to correct that here. And I'm putting him at number 6. And number 7, Stefanos Tsitsipas. Stefanos Tsitsipas, I think, can be great on grass. I talked to him in Stuttgart. I said, I think your game, we were chatting just outside the media room. I showed him a video on my phone of him diving around. Probably told you guys that already. But I said, I think your game's suited for grass. He's like, I agree. And we talked about how, the movement works, how, just his athleticism. And when I watched him play Murray, even though he lost, and then he lost to Kyrgios in Halle, 2 amazing grass court players, his serve +1 is absolutely up there, top 3, 4 in the world. And on grass, it's even better. And the only thing that's kind of holding him back is his slice and his slice return. He needs to be able to slice return every time, get the ball back in play, and he needs to be able to use the slice better, and it's right now not working. So that's a weakness for him, but I think I'm very interested to see over best of 5 format how he can do on the grass, and I think he can do better than people think. So those are my top 7. If I had to throw an 8, it might be Shapovalov right there. And then it gets a bit confusing after that to me. But those are my top 7, 8 power rankings for Wimbledon. Do you agree? What do you think? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below after you like and subscribe this video. I appreciate you guys being here, and let's strap in for all of the Wimbledon coverage coming up when the draw is released. I think probably Thursday or Friday. So stay tuned to The Slice for that. Follow me on Twitter at The Slice Guy on Twitter. Changed my handle, and we'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for being here. Thanks to PointsBet Canada for sending The Slice, and join our channel down below for exclusive content for you. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to The Slice.